He robbed a bank with the lemon juice on his face because he thought it would make him invisible to cameras. Not joking. His name was MacArthur Wheeler, and in 1995 he confidently walked into two Pittsburgh banks thinking he hacked the security system with fruit juice. But here is what even more absurd. He wasn't just wrong, he was confidently wrong.
Unbound mind.
That paradox lit a fire under two social psychologists, David Dunning and Justin Kruger. They were intrigued by the sheer confidence the lemon juice bank robber displayed in the face of such profound incompetence. There is a saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, and the Dunning-Kruger research proved just that. Competent people usually know their limits. In fact, they often underestimate how good they are, especially when surrounded by mediocrity. But the incompetent, they do the exact opposite. They wildly overestimate their abilities, can't spot the real expertise in others, and have no clue what they're missing. It's not just that they don't know, it's that they don't know that they don't know. And to make things worse, our egos actively block any kind of honest self-examination. So we cling to ideas that fit our narrative, reinforcing our own flawed thinking instead of challenging it. It's not just poor judgment, it's a feedback loop. Just look at the numbers. 78% of new retail traders think they're outperforming the market. 90% of them actually lose money. Why? Because metacognition, the ability to reflect on your own thinking, is rare. Without it, we don't even realize we're making poor decisions. As such, how can we fix them?
Unbound mind.
Side fact: Herbert Simon, a pioneer in decision-making research, came up with the concept of bounded rationality. This is when we make and evaluate decisions within the limits of what we know and how well we can think. The problem: we don't know how much we know and how limited our thinking really is. And that's where it overlaps with the confidence trap. Because when our skill is low, so is our ability to recognize the gap.
Unbound mind.
Just think about it. We wouldn't try electrical work or plumbing without proper training. We don't believe we can be hired as a chef without knowing how to boil water. But somehow, we think we're naturally God-gifted CEOs the moment we start our business. Just because we've read a how-to article or listened to a few business podcasts doesn't mean we are ready to run a Fortune 500 company, unless, of course, our goal is to build a series of well-intentioned mistakes. That's like thinking you can do heart surgery because you watched Grey's Anatomy. Same logic applies to parenting, by the way. No experience, no research, no awareness, no clue. But hey, we made a baby, so we're natural. A couple of years later, can somebody fix my baby, please? Or the classic, gets a dog, doesn't train it, blames the dog for chewing the sofa. Same delusion. And don't even get me started on business influencers who preach strategy without knowing the difference between strategy and tactics. All right, rant over, sort of. Let's shift gears and talk about why this keeps happening. Easy. Our brains crave certainty. Uncertainty scares us. When we think we know something, we feel safe. And when something feels right, we cling to it no matter how wrong it is. But this illusion keeps us from growing because we stop questioning and start assuming. You see, ignorance isn't a flaw, unwillingness to learn is.
Unbound mind.
But before I let you off the hook, let's map this out. There is a pattern, the 4 stages of learning and the Mount Stupid concept. The first one is often attributed to Noel Burge, and the second one to internet creativity, which doesn't make it less insightful. Stage 1, Unconscious Incompetence, aka you don't know that you don't know and you're oddly confident about it. This stage comes with two flavors of delusion. The slope of ignorance, this is the blissful zone, where someone hasn't even considered they might suck. Not because they're humble, they're just unaware. Confidence doesn't even enter the chart yet because the skill isn't on their radar. The peak of Mount Stupid. They've just learned a little, enough to feel clever, not enough to realize how much they still don't get. And boom, confidence spikes. They're suddenly an expert after reading one article or taking one online course. They think they're good because they don't understand what good truly is. It's not arrogance, it's ignorance wearing a crown. And here is the real issue. The less someone knows, the more the ego works over time to protect them from admitting it. They're not just wrong, they're too clueless to realize it, too proud to question it, and too defensive to learn. So they stay stuck in the loop, polishing their delusions instead of their skills. Stage 2. Conscious Incompetence, aka you know what you don't know and it's humbling as hell. Taking the slide of awareness, if you dare, you glide down to the valley of despair. This is where the learner finally sees the true scale of what's involved. They realize how much they suck, and this divine realization feels like a slap to their confidence. A friend of mine thought she spoke decent English. She'd picked it up on the job, enough to handle business emails and occasional chats. I never heard her speak, but it seemed to do the trick. Then she took a proper business English course, and then when it hit her, she'd call me in horror every time she realized she'd been missing the most basic things. Misused phrases, broken grammar, unusual pronunciation, let's say worse than unusual mine. She didn't realize how off she was. She went from casually communicating to second-guessing every word. And then she stopped speaking altogether, too embarrassed to even try. It took months of persistent study and swallowing her pride to rebuild that skill. She speaks again now, but much slower, and her confidence still in recovery. But that's how real learning works. It breaks you before it builds you. Stage 3, Conscious Competence. You know how to do it, but it still takes effort. At this stage, your confidence starts creeping back the slope of enlightenment as your skills improve. But here is the thing. You can do it. You just have to think about it. It's like getting the hang of a new skill. It's better, but it still requires focus and effort to execute. You aren't coasting yet, but you're definitely moving in the right direction. Stage 4, Unconscious Competence. You do it without thinking, and it feels effortless. Welcome to the plateau of adequacy, where you've nailed it. You don't just know how to do it, you do it without even thinking. Confidence here is solid. You know you are good at what you do, it feels smooth. It feels natural. At this point, you are in the zone, effortlessly executing a skill without even having to consciously think about it. Ironically, experts here often underestimate their ability because what's easy for them feels like it should be easy for everyone. That's the curse of knowledge. And here is what all comes down to. It's not just about knowing things. It's about knowing how you think. Owning that you don't know. And by the way, there is a video about how to learn to unlearn and knowing where your competence actually is.
Unbound mind.
Socrates said it centuries ago, I know that I know nothing. And yet, here we are, proud CEOs, armchair experts, and lemon juice bank robbers, all because incompetence breeds overconfidence. Overconfidence blocks learning, and blocked learning keeps us stuck in incompetence. So maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop pretending we know and start actually understanding instead. So, why don't we? If you want to dive deeper into how this all ties together, check out the Full Illusion of Knowing playlist. And if you're really serious about growing and unlearning, I've got a free strategy toolkit waiting for you. Just sign up and you'll get it for the cost of nothing. You'll thank yourself later, promise.